Hello, everyone. Thanks for tuning into our podcast. It's okay, brought to you by Stensor. Stensor is a creative initiative with creativity at the root, who help their audience create habitable spaces to enrich the quality of life and mental well being. This podcast is part of the Mind chapter in the journey of Stensor, and in this series, we will take you on our journey towards mental well being. I am Kushal Jayaprakash and I'm your host. And in today's episode, I'll be talking about how it's okay to not be okay. Let's face it, we all have this notion of a perfect life built into our mind. And in this fairyland kind of a situation, what we always imagine is that this place has no sorrow, no death, no hatred, no job losses, and not even a friend leaving you in this place. But eventually, life is not going to be only bells and whistles, right? When our whole life is charted down into a simple graph diagram, you can see a lot of peaks and a lot of valleys. You'll be climbing to the zeniths at places, and we'll be falling to the deepest of valleys. And when we all start wandering deeper into this journey between the peaks and the valleys, we get a strong notion of this thing in our head saying that every person, every human being around us is watching us. They care about us, they judge us, they want a piece of us, right? But then what happens when the notion of perfect life shatters? What happens when we are not okay? When we are completely low and hopeless, filled with negative self talk, negative emotions, and the thoughts, when we are losing motivation to be productive, completely lost, and feeling shitty? What happens then? Well, you might be guessing. That's very simple. That's when we pretend that everything's normal, everything's good. And that's when we forget to acknowledge our emotions and skip straight to finding solutions to our problems. Let me break it to you why that's happening. This is because of our fear of shattering that perfect life we have created in our heads. We fear it so much that we skip straight to finding solutions. And what this does is that it helps us feel like we are back in control of our life and our emotions. And trust me when I say this, the perfect lives showcased on social media do not help us either. Now, let me ask a simple question to all the people who are listening to this right now. Just be honest on this one. How many of you have actually tried to hide these thoughts in front of your parents or your friends or your colleagues or peers, just from people around you with the fear of being judged, thought less of, or perceived as weak? How many of you have had the fake smiles, the cheerfully unwanted hellos and good mornings and the good evenings while having no motivation to show up anywhere and do anything? How many of us have tried to hide our pain and sorrows behind, I'm fine, I'm good, everything's going great? Let me be honest on this. I know I'm guilty of doing this. It doesn't matter how many of you disagree with me. I know that all of us are guilty of doing this. This is exactly what we are going to be talking about in this episode today. If we put into simpler words, we live in a world where we are taught to hide our negative thoughts under a mask of I am okays because that's perceived as weak. While in reality, all we want to do is scream our guts out and say, I am not okay. And I'm shocked that even in the 21st century, there's a lot of stigma on this whole topic. We are here today to assure you and talk to you guys about how it's okay to not be okay and our journey towards being not okay. Now, let me just jump into the harsh reality of all of this. We all have a lot of responsibilities in life: your work, your personal relationships, running a house, and taking care of your family, obviously, and all of which are overwhelming for one person to handle. We all have limitations, we all have a saturation point beyond which we tend to burn out. And exactly at these times that we need constant emotional and mental support to live a fulfilling life. And to put forward something on a very personal front, these are few statements I actually put into my mind every time something goes wrong. These are the it's okay statements I put into my mind, which I think should also share a lot of common ground with all of you. And also note that these are the statements that have hugely impacted and helped me in the past and present. And to be very candid with all of you people, even today, before and while recording this podcast, these statements have run like a zillion times in my head. And the statement are as follows. It's okay to feel burned out. It's totally okay, normal, and fine to cry after fighting with your parents or any relationship that you're in. It's okay to pass upon additional responsibilities at work. It's okay to just lay in bed all day when you're exhausted and just need some time to yourself. It's okay to feel jealous. It's okay to feel insecure. It's okay to feel weird. It's okay to feel like an outsider. It's okay to feel like you're going nowhere in life. It's completely normal to feel this way. It is a common human nature to feel this way, and there is no need for you to feel guilty for the feeling the way you feel. What actually matters the most is how you deal with these kinds of situations and keep moving forward. I crystal clearly remember all the times I airbrushed my I am okay statements just to avoid having a difficult conversation or even explaining myself to anyone. It has taken me years to get to the point where I am comfortable talking about how I am not okay. And to all the people who are listening to this right now, may it be the people who know me or may it be the people who are getting to know me for the first time, let me give you an insight on what I am. I'm a very guarded person. I tend to keep people at a distance from the very beginning because I always, at the back of my head, have this notion that I'll be judged if I let them in or that their perception of me changes if I let them in. And I genuinely think that I am not alone on this one. I think we all struggle with these perceptions that others have about us and try to live up to them, and in the process, forget ourselves and fall into a loop of I'm okay and nothing is wrong with me scenarios. This actually intends on the fact that we are so scared of breaking that precious perception that's built up. And I exactly believe and feel this is the kind of mindset we need to walk away from if we want to have a fulfilling life based on our terms and not somebody's version of our life. Honestly put, this was a major struggle for me until it got too hard to keep up with. That's when I decided that I would no longer suppress my emotions and thoughts for society. I kid you not. It was very hard. You'll get called a lot of names. You'll be called a rebel. You'll always feel like an outsider. You'll even question yourself at times if something's wrong with you and why you're not normal. And now I'm going to tell you all the biggest life hack that I've imbibed. Learn to say, I'm not okay when things are tough. Instead of ignoring your emotions and moving past to finding a solution to a problem, or simply just portraying to society that you're okay to avoid having tough conversations. Practice saying exactly how you feel when someone asks you, how are you, instead of a generic, I'm fine. Believe me when I say this, you can actually build a lot of genuine relationships by getting the simple question right. And to actually share few things that work for me are keeping my circle small and being with like-minded people. Oftentimes, I simply tell myself that it's okay. I repeat this inside my head constantly. Being open about the issue faced with people who are close to you really helps. Also, a huge positive side of this is being supportive of the other person's thoughts and fears. This will really help to create a positive atmosphere all around you. If it helps, you can also try writing about these thoughts and assess patterns and situations also. Believe me, this will help you deal with thoughts and emotions in the long run. And of all, if nothing works when you're feeling low, the best advice I would give myself is just sleep it off. What it'll do by nature is sometimes your mind needs to shut down and restart to get out of the loop. This huge loop of self pity, negativity, negative self talk, and the false narratives inside your head. And the most important thing is to try staying away from the pep talks and the positive affirmations like everything happens for a reason. Focus on the good things in your life. This too shall pass. All these affirmations do not really help when you're creating false narratives inside your head. Instead, what I do in situations like this is I take a deep breath and ground myself to my surroundings and try to assess my emotions and feelings. What this does is it gives myself a sense of validation and also acknowledges my emotions. And if you're around one, please believe on me with this one. Talk to a friend, talk to a close one you have, and express your concerns instead of rushing to finding solutions or finding a positive quote to put on your social media. Fun fact on that one, I've actually posted a lot of quotes like that in the past on my social media handles. And we all know that that is not going to help us unless we all believe in the deeper meaning of that quote. Well, that said, I would like to conclude today's episode with this beautiful statement that has been resonating with me of late. It goes something like this: if you want to make the people around you happy, you must find your own happiness first. Being selfish isn't necessarily a bad thing. Try to only think about your happiness when things are too stressful. It's okay to do that. Ciao. Thank you for listening to our episode on It's Okay, brought to you by Stensor, the Mind chapter. Please do rate and subscribe to our podcast, and please do not forget to share your experience and thoughts on our podcast. Do remember that this is coming from our experiences only. We are not medical professionals. This is purely from our journey towards mental health. And at our core, we are architects by profession, with the design initiative part of Stensor, the design chapter, where we help our audience design beautiful living spaces to enhance their lifestyle. If you're looking to revamp your spaces, feel free to reach out to us via email. And also, check out our latest projects on Instagram. Read the description for more information.